Subject hydrology, chapter hydrograph analysis, topic basics of hydrograph and analysis, right? Now students, after studying about a lot of topics, after clearing a lot of concepts, now let us come to the basics of hydrograph, right? So first of all, let me tell you about hydrograph. So but even before hydrograph, let me tell you about runoff. So what is runoff, right? You must be knowing that after a precipitation has fallen over a particular catchment area, after you're subtracting infiltration, right, after subtracting your initial losses, the depression losses and everything, right, whatever the volume of water you are left with or whatever the depth of precipitation you are left with, it results into runoff. Simple, right? So runoff is of two types. One, we have a long-term runoff, and one we have short-term runoff. Now what is this long-term runoff? So long-term runoff means the runoff which is actually happening for over a long period of time. Let us say it is the runoff in a river, right, or a runoff in a canal, right, which is happening over a period, over a course of time, right? That is a long runoff, right? Now long-term runoff, that is short-term runoff, right? Now, so in short-term runoff, suppose that a storm has happened, right? Or you can say a storm has just arrived over a particular catchment area. So when the storm will be giving all its precipitation, then at a particular gauge station, you will be observing a certain peak that will be only for a short term or only for a short period of time. So that type of runoff is known as short-term runoff. So in hydrograph analysis, we are basically discussing the short-term runoff only, right? Long-term runoff we are not discussing in hydrograph, but for long-term runoff we are discussing the stream flow measurement. Stream flow measurement or stream flow hydrology, right? But that is not in our syllabus. Earlier it was in GATE syllabus. If you look at the past 25 years of GATE examinations and the syllabus of GATE examination up to, I guess, up to 2010 or 11, so this was in syllabus, right? So you must be observing some numericals based on the velocity of stream flow and the discharge of stream flow, right? The depth of the stage stage also known as depth, right? So depth is also known as stage. Right? So stage, discharge relationship and other topics, right? But nowadays the GATE has, you can say, eliminated this topic from the syllabus of GATE examination. So we are only left with the short-term runoff, in which we will be studying the hydrographs, right? Now first of all, let me tell you what a hydrograph is. Now to make you understand what a hydrograph is, first of all let me draw one catchment area, right? Let us say this is a catchment area. Let me take the black marker to make you understand more precisely about the catchment area. So let me take one catchment area. Let us say this is a catchment area. This is a catchment area. Yeah? This catchment area will have streams, right? Let us say this is the main stream. These are the tributaries. Let us say, right? And this is a particular catchment area. And the exit of this catchment area, we have placed a gauge station. Gauge station which will measure the stage, or known as a depth also, which will measure depth, which will measure the, you can say, the peak of the discharge, the total discharge, the velocity of discharge. So we have established a gauge station there. Simple. Clear? Now when precipitation is happening over this area, now what will happen to this gauge station? So if you draw a graph between discharge versus time, and you are sitting at the gauge station and you are drawing a graph between your discharge and your time to measure discharge, there are a lot of, you can say, methods, some rational methods, some irrational methods, slope area method is also there. A lot of methods are there, right? I'm not going in deep in that, direct and indirect methods, right? So to measure discharge, a lot of methods are there. Now you are sitting at the gauge station measuring the discharge and drawing a graph between discharge versus time. Your graph would be like this. Now initially for example this stream, it already has some flow. Let us say even without the storm, even without the falling of the storm, precipitation, there was, let us say, some discharge in the stream earlier also, right? So some discharge was there, right? Now when this storm has happened, let us say that this is time 0, this is your time, This is your discharge in meter cube per second. Meter cube per second, and your time is in hours, let us say. It is in hours, right? Now this particular storm has happened, let us say, between time t is equals to, this is 2 to t is equals to 4. It is just a 2 hours storm, right? dr storm, dr storm. But for the time being, it is just a 2 hour storm. For 2 hours, this storm has happened over this particular catchment area. What is the area of catchment, that I don't know, right? 4. Now 6, 8, 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, and so on. But this storm has lasted only for 2 hours, right? So what will happen at this gauge station? So if you draw a graph between discharge versus time, this is my common sense, that gradually the discharge will increase, right? So gradually, now this was the base flow. Now what is base flow? I am explaining. Now gradually, sorry, the discharge will increase. It will attain a peak. I don't know at what time it will attain a peak, and after some time it will again recede like this. Let me draw the graph like up to here. Okay? So this graph, again I am repeating, this graph between discharge and time is known as hydrograph. Is known as hydrograph. Is known as hydrograph. Right? Now, the time, the distance between the peak, right? Obviously there is lag, right? For example, the discharge, the precipitation was happening between 2 to 4 hours, but we are observing peak at, let us say, 8.5 hours. Obviously there is a lag, that is known as a time lag. Clear? So this hydrograph has few, you can say, parts, right? So let us say this is your first part, let us say A, clear? This is your, you can say, B part, this is your, let us say, C part, this is your D part, this is your E part, this is your F part, and this is your G part. Clear? So it has a few parts, right? Now this part, that is B to C part, this part, let me write it here. The B to C part is known as the you can say, leading limb, right? Leading limb, right? Or you can say succeeding limb, right? Or you can say it is increasing limb. Increasing limb. If you go to different books, so different names have been given to this part, right? Increasing limb, succeeding limb, right? Or other names also. So this part B to C is increasing actually. So this is known as the increasing limb, right? This part C, D, E is known as the crest, right? So you can say that this part, that is C, D, E, is known as the crest of the hydrograph, right? This E to F part, in most of the books the name is given as recession limb, right? This E to F part is known as the recession limb. Recession means decreasing, right? Recession limb. And this D, this point D is the peak, right? Point D is the peak discharge, you can say. Peak discharge. Because if you measure from this point to this, it is a peak discharge. Peak discharge. Clear? Now, this flow, I told you that before the storm has actually happened, there was some flow in the stream, right? So this flow, if I draw a straight line, this flow is known as the base flow. Base flow. This flow is known as the base flow. So these are a few parts of hydrograph. Now, if you go to the different books, so this distance is also given, because it is very difficult to measure this, you can say, this time interval, it is very difficult. Also you can say that this distance is also given in some books. So the distance is actually, so you can, let us say that this distance is given by n, right? So n, in a lot of books, it is given as n is given by 0.83 a raised to the power 0.2, where A is the area of catchment. Area of catchment. So in many books, this value of n is also given, but that is not required for GATE perspective. This value is not required actually, right? Even if you want to learn it well and good. If you don't want to learn it, don't learn it. right? So because these types of numericals in which this value is used are basically coming in your ESE mains examination, but as far as the gate point of view is concerned, this formula is not important, but you should know that how to determine this. You can say the time from B to F. Clear? So this is known as the base flow. Base flow means the flow in the stream which was earlier to the happening of the storm. That is known as the base flow actually. Okay? So I hope that you have understood the parts of the hydrograph. Okay? Now there are a few factors on which the shape of the hydrograph will depend. There are a few factors. So let us now study those factors on which the hydrograph will depend, right? So now let me rub this and let me tell you about a few factors on which the hydrograph will depend, right? So let me rub this. I hope you have got it. The hydrograph, right? Now there are a few factors on which the hydrograph it actually depends. So if somebody asks you what is the hydrograph, you will say that over a particular catchment area, if you draw a graph between discharge versus time, the graph is known as a hydrograph. Simple, right? Okay, now hydrograph depends upon a few factors, right? So first of all, let me write down. It depends upon, because questions can be asked, theoretical questions from this topic which I have explained just now, right? The first is size of the basin or the catchment. Size. Before size, first of all, let me tell you about shape, right? Before size, let me tell you about shape. Shape of basin. And this question which I am going to just tell you just now, it has been asked in many examinations, not GATE examination, but other examinations. Okay. So if you have a shape like this, let us say this is your hydrograph. If the shape of the basin is like this, initially it is, you can say, thinner, and then you have a large area. If you have a shape of a basin like this, and the gauge station is somewhere here, this is the main stream, these are the tributaries, right? So the graph of the hydrograph and the storm has fallen over a period of time dr storm. This is your Q, this is your time T. So the shape of the hydrograph will be like this. Clear? It is said to be skewed on the left hand side. If your shape of the basin is like this, that initially it is broad, but at the gauge station it is narrow, right? This is the gauge station, this is the main stream, these are the tributaries, right? And here storm has happened, the DR storm. So the shape of the hydrograph will be like this for this part, right? Let me draw it more precisely. So it will be more precisely, it will be like this. Skewed to the left, skewed to the right, right? But if the shape of the basin is like this, if the shape of the basin is like this, this is the stream, these are the tributaries, this is the gauge station, and storm has happened over this period of time. This is Q, this is T, this is Q, this is T, right? So the shape of the hydrograph is like this. We have two peaks, like this. This is the shape of the hydrograph. Clear? Okay, so I hope that you have understood that how the shape of the basin or catchment, you can say it influences the shape of the hydrograph, right? So if you have a shape of a catchment like this, you have a hydrograph like this, which is, you can say, skewed on the left. If you have a shape of the catchment like this, you have a hydrograph like this, skewed on the right, right? Now why it is actually happening? Because you can say, let us say that the rain is falling on this catchment area. Let us say, there is a reason also, let us say that the rain is falling on this catchment area. So this is narrower, right? It is narrow, it means the area of the catchment, this is, you can say, small. So the time interval for attaining the peak discharge will be very small, because you can say a lot of water will be coming, you can say, instantaneously, because it, for example, let me draw it bigger. Let us say this is bigger. This is the catchment, let us say, right? So if some rain has fallen on this area, there is the main stream, these are the tributaries, right? So this particular rainfall will take a very small time to reach this stream. Similarly, the rain which has fallen on this area, it will take a very small time to reach here, very small time, very small time, very small time, and hence in a very small time you will attain a peak discharge. But as far as the second is concerned, let us say you have very broad area here. This is the main stream, these are the tributaries, and the gauge station is here. If suppose that some rain falls on this point, so it will take a lot of time to reach this stream. Similarly, if this some rain has fallen on, precipitation has come to this particular area, it will take a lot of time to reach the stream. So hence it will the positive, it is a, you can say, skewed on the right hand side, because it will take a lot of time to attain a peak discharge, and it will take a very small time to attain a peak discharge. Simple. Yeah. Now, after the shape of the basin, the second factor which is determining the, or which is influencing the hydrograph, is the size of the basin. So let us discuss about the size of the basin, right? So after shape, now let us discuss about the size of the basin. Let me rub this. Right? The second factor is size of the basin. Now, size of the basin also has the same influence which I have just told you, just explained you. So second one is number B, is size of the basin. Now I am not going to tell you, you tell me what do you think, what will happen to the hydrograph if the size of the basin is very large, right? So size of the basin, you tell me, just think and tell me, what do you think, what will happen to the hydrograph if you can say the size of the basin is very large. So it is just common sense that, sir, if the size of the basin is very large and you have a gauge station here, it will take a lot of time. It means that the time base will be very high, right? So you can say that large basin, large time base, and small basin, if it is a small basin, then the hydrograph will be of a very short duration. In a very short duration, all the water will go to the mainstream, and hence it will be recorded by the gauge station, right? Small basin, so small time base. Small time base. You can write this in your own language, in your own words, small time base, right? But I have just told you the concept, what is the concept behind the size of the basin, right? So after size of the basin, it also depends upon the slope of the basin also. So let me tell you what about the slope of the basin, right? So what will happen if the slope of the basin is very high? So see, slope of basin. Slope of basin. So you know that slope, it directly influences the velocity. It directly influences the velocity of flow. Velocity of flow. So slope of a basin directly influences the velocity of flow, but the slope of the basin will have larger impact. It will have larger impact on recession limb. On recession limb than on the rising limb. And that limb is also succeeding limb, also known as the rising limb also, right? The rising limb. Clear? Now, what will happen if the slope of the, now if slope is high, let me write it here, if slope is large, then if slope is large, again I repeat, then what will happen? This recession limb will be very small, or you can say the slope of the recession limb will be very high. So your hydrograph would be like this. It will be like this. So the recession limb will have a large slope. It means that the after attaining the peak discharge, when the storm, which was of d hours duration, now when the storm is gone, right, now after attaining the peak discharge, the discharge it decreases rapidly if the slope of the basin is very, that is the common sense. Now if the slope of the basin is very large, let me give you an example also. Let us say I have one notebook, right? This is my basin. This is my basin, right? So initially the slope was, let us say the slope is very large, it is a very high basin slope. If rainfall is happening on this place, a storm has just arrived on this place and precipitation is there, so what will happen? This is the gauge station, so gauge station will record, you can say, the discharge at a very short time, and after the storm is gone, after it is gone, then whole of the water will disappear rapidly because the slope is very high. So the recession limb will disappear or dissipate very rapidly. On the other hand, if the slope of the basin is less, now if slope is less, then this recession limb will be larger. So it will be like this. Discharge, then it will be large, like this. Slowly, it will dissipate. Clear? Okay. Now, this is the third factor on which you can say the hydrograph, it depends. Now the fourth factor is the drainage density, right? So now let me tell you about the drainage density also. Now what is drainage density? Now drainage density is the total length of the stream divided by the area of that particular catchment, right? So what is drainage density? Let me tell you. Now fourth factor on which it depends is drainage density. Drainage density. Now drainage density is the summation of total length of the stream. For example, this particular catchment area has a lot of streams, right? Has a lot of streams. So summation of length 1 plus length 2 plus length 3 plus length 4, 5, 6, 7 and so on, divided by the total area of catchment. Let us say the catchment area is A. Right? This is known as the drainage density. Now you tell me, if the drainage density is very high, it means that there are a lot of streams in the particular catchment area. So what will happen when a storm has happened, when rainfall, precipitation has happened, so the whole of the water will be dissipated quickly by the streams. It will be dissipated very quickly. So I will say that if the drain density is high, if it is high, so the peak discharge, you can say, if the drain density is very high, so the peak discharge will be very high, like this. Clear? But if the drainage density is very low, let us say you have a catchment, only 1 stream, 2 stream and 3 stream. Now what will happen if a lot of, you can say, precipitation has happened over this particular catchment area, but there is no source to carry that precipitation to this gauge station. There is no source, it will take a lot of time. So your hydrograph would be like this. Like this. So this is for this, and this is for the high drainage density, and this is for the low drainage density. Low drainage density. DD means drainage density. Clear? So this is the fourth factor on which the hydrograph it actually depends. Clear? Now the next factor, fifth factor on which it depends, which has been asked in examination, is urbanization. Urbanization. Urbanization means earlier there was some village and now we have, you can say, developed that particular area into an urban area. Now you tell me one thing, whether an urban area has you can say a virgin land more or a rural area. Let me again repeat it. Now in rural areas you must be seeing that you can say the proper finished concrete area is very less. In rural areas, most of the area is proper ground. We have farms, right? We have fields, agricultural fields, right? So not much of the area is totally covered with concrete, or it is not a very tough area, right? But as far as the urbanization is concerned, urban areas are concerned, we have roads, we have metallic roads, right? Now we have, you can say, societies also, we have, you can say, finished floors also, right? So what will happen is that the upper surface of the ground, it will not be in directly contact with the, you can say, particular storm or precipitation. So what is there? We have a, you can say, there is a barrier of concrete or metallic road or anything. So I can say that if the urbanization is more, so the infiltration will be very less, because the rainfall or the precipitation is not in directly contact with the earth. It already has something over it. It can be a metallic road, it can be a house, or it can be anything, right? But in case of a village area, the surface, it is directly in contact with precipitation. It meets with precipitation directly. So I can say that the infiltration in case of an urban area is very less, because there is no ground, there is no land which is available for infiltration, and for rural area it is high. So if I draw a graph, it will be like this. So this is before urbanization and this is after urbanization, right? Before urbanization and after urbanization. This is your infiltration, this is your time t. So this is your before urbanization, and this is your after urbanization. Now if the infiltration is less, what will happen to the discharge? Will it be more or will it be less? It will be more, right? Because only few water can percolate or can infiltrate to the ground surface, right? So lot of water is available as a runoff. Obviously, now if you have an urban area, your hydrograph will show a peak. Why? Because a lot of area has been urbanized, right? It means that infiltration will be very low. Now if it would have not been urbanized, your graph would have been like this. So this is for not urbanized, and this is for urbanized. The urbanized and not urbanized. Simple. So I hope that you have understood the basics of hydrograph. Clear? Now before moving to the next topic, which is known as the unit hydrograph, which is very important. Now you have understood hydrograph. Now what is hydrograph, right? Now before moving to the next topic, let me make you understand about two important terms. So the first one is effective runoff heatograph. And the second one is direct runoff hydrograph, right? Direct runoff hydrograph and effective runoff heatograph, not hydrograph, heatograph. So this I have already told you in previous chapters that, for example, what is a heatograph? It is a, you can say, graph between the rainfall intensity, which is usually in centimeters per hour, to time, and it is usually in the form of a bar chart like this, if you remember, right? Now if from this rainfall intensity you subtract the infiltration index, so you will be getting excess rainfall, right? And this excess rainfall will give you effective rainfall heatograph. This is also known as the effective rainfall also. Clear? Now what is direct runoff hydrograph? So this was a simple hydrograph which I have already told you. Now if from the simple hydrograph you subtract the base flow, again I am repeating, if from the simple hydrograph you subtract the base flow, you will be getting direct runoff hydrograph or effective runoff hydrograph. Clear? So these were the two important parameters which I was telling you, right? So now let's move, you can say, to the next topic and understand about the unit hydrographs, right? Thank you.